So we need to make sure that in each blog, you articulate the value that your wedding business offers. We need to make sure that you address pain points and desires that your target wedding audience has or are experiencing. We need to overcome objections that your target wedding audience can potentially come up with against working with you. We need to qualify your readers through the content your blog is about and ensure that they are the right fit for you as well as you are the right fit for them. So that's classed as qualifying. As well as we want you to position yourself as that expert, as that go-to wedding supplier within your wedding specialism.
Welcome to the Wedding Business Growth Coach podcast, a podcast dedicated to sharing everything you need in bite-sized episodes to set up your wedding business for success and get your diary fully booked, full of those dream wedding clients. You're here with me, Jen Maynard, Wedding Business Growth Coach and founder of the Boho Bride Guide wedding blog and supply directory. Each episode is full of value and structured around my wedding business anchor fundamentals framework to give you straightforward, step-by-step activities to put in place into your business that will position yourself as the go-to wedding supplier within your specialism. Let's go!
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Wedding Business Growth Coach podcast. You're here with me, Jen Maynard, and today is part 2 of the Content Creation System series. So in the last episode, we covered, firstly, what is a content creation system? Why do we need it to regularly convert our online audience into inquiries into our inbox? And how can it benefit us as wedding business owners, as well as from a business point of view, from a personal point of view, as well as from our audience's point of view. And we also covered how do we get started. So I covered how we can clarify who our target wedding audience is to then get us going with the content that we create and making sure that it is relevant to our target wedding audience. In this episode, I'm going to be following on from this, and today is all about how we create our own annual wedding business blog schedule for our personal website. So we're going to look at the blog fundamentals and what are the cogs that we need in the content creation system to go from blog all the way through to our monthly content that we put out on social media. We're going to look at our blog frequency, the purpose of our blog, and making sure that it addresses what we need as a business, as well as offering value to our audience. We're going to be looking at then how you can come up with your blog content ideas and creating your own, like for the next 12 months, your blog schedule using what we call a content hub to make sure that the content that you create is really attractive to Google. So those blogs that you write are getting ranked for those keyword phrases that you want to be visible for. So when your audience puts in boho inspired cake ideas, that your blogs come up if you're a cake designer, for example. So let's go. Let's remind ourselves what our blogs from our website needs to cover every time that we create a blog. So there's a few things that I want you to keep in the back of your mind all the time to make sure that we are on target, if you like, to creating content that converts your audience into inquiries. So we need to make sure that in each blog you articulate the value that your wedding business offers. We need to make sure that you address pain points and desires that your target wedding audience has or are experiencing. We need to overcome objections that your target wedding audience can potentially come up with against working with you. We need to qualify your readers through the content your blog is about and ensure that they are the right fit for you as well as you are the right fit for them. So that's classed as qualifying. As well as we want you to position yourself as that expert, as that go-to wedding supplier within your wedding specialism. And so to start with, so let's keep that in our minds when we're thinking about content. But before we get to content, we need to think about the frequency that we want our annual blog schedule to cover, because we need to take in our capacity. So, some of us are doing this as our full-time venture, and maybe, in the winter months we have more capacity to plan and write our blogs. However, if your wedding business is a side hustle and you're still managing family or other commitments or work commitments, then you may want to rejig the frequency of your blog schedule. So in my mind, the easy way to think is whether you do a monthly blog or a bi-monthly blog. So you need to decide whether you're planning 12 blogs within your schedule to cover the whole year, or whether you're going to plan for 6 blogs across the whole year. So that means that you're publishing every other month. And that is very much up to you, as we are all on our own journey, and it needs to work for your situation. So it remains consistent, and you're able, you've got the capacity, and it's not going to get overwhelming for you, because the minute it gets overwhelming, it's much more likely that it may not take place. So that's an important one to think about. Next, we need to think about our blog purpose. Now, we covered those main elements of what we need to keep in our mind. And it is essentially a tool to attract your ideal wedding client, and to have that content out there so they can build that know, like and trust factor with you by reading your content, by being exposed to your social media content. So by the time that they're ready to invest, they just need to pick up the phone and confirm with you, because you've answered all of those queries and questions that might well have come up prior to you creating your content creation system. And so the next thing I wanted to cover is let's think about how we can think of some ideas to come up with your content for your blogs. Now, I've got a few questions for you to think about, and I'll put these questions again in the show notes so that you can take part in the activity after the event. So take a pen and paper, and I'd like you to have a think about the following questions. So what do you offer your wedding couples, and what is the end result you create? Now, go into detail about this, because we need this to be speckled across all of your blog posts. And each blog you write, it needs to be really clear about what you offer your ideal wedding client. So whatever you're talking about, it's still clear about what your main offering is. Next, think about what pain points, what problems do you address for your target wedding audience on a daily basis. What questions do you get asked an awful lot about? What do you find yourself talking about an awful lot when clients are, ringing you up or emailing you? What do you need to be persistent about addressing for them? And in that also, that could be very much an education piece, because most people haven't planned a wedding before. And so whatever your specialism, in your blog content, you also need to be educating them about your area of expertise. What is the cost? What is the time involved? What is the schedule that they need to consider? All of those sorts of things. But have a think about what type of thing you seem to be saying an awful lot when you're working with potential clients. Also, the next question is, what wedding desires or aspirations do you cater for? Again, this is making it super clear about that end result that you create for your ideal wedding client. And within that, make sure when you're noting down your answer to this, it's very much an emotive response. It's not just, I create floral displays for boho inspired weddings. it's that end result. I create the environment that everyone feels, on top of the world and ready for a damn good party. Or it might be you create that environment to promote socialising and to reflect the couple's passions and style through floral design. Have a real think. Sorry, I use the floral design a lot, but I can just relate to that because that's where I came from. But it would be very relevant to your area of wedding expertise as well. So have a think about that. And then the other question is, what possible objections may your target wedding audience have to working with you or hiring you for their wedding day? So on this one, I want you to think about those conversations that you've had, inquiries that have been made, and then they haven't ended up booking with you. And if they were your ideal wedding client, I want you to be a little bit analytical about what their main objection was to working with you. And a lot of the time it might not be cost. If you're able to position yourself as that expert within your wedding niche, it may not just be cost. We can educate them around the cost and what's involved in the services that you offer. It might be other elements that we haven't yet considered. So have a real sort of analytical think about why people haven't booked you in the past. And within your content, make sure that you address that objection within the content that you write within your blogs. In the next question, I want you to note down who is your target wedding audience and describe the type of couple that you are looking to attract. Now, this will help from part one, the previous episode that we went into detail around this, but get it noted down and almost see if you can write it in a bit of a summary just to remind you. So when you're writing these blog posts, you need to be addressing that person, that couple in particular. And I do find writing for that one person really helps you target the detail and the education piece around what you write within your blog. And lastly, what topics or content do you need to be talking about to position yourself as an expert within your wedding niche? Now, take some time to answer these questions and have a think about what are your couples going to be looking for on Google, on Pinterest, for your blog content to be popping up. And basically, we need to write about those very things in our blog content. The next part of this podcast episode, I wanted to hone in on how we then create a blog series, a blog schedule that is attractive to Google. So let's take a moment. What is Google? Google has customers, which are the people that are searching in Google. And they want to be providing the content from other people's websites that has the most value, the most usefulness for those people that are writing in the search bar. And how do we basically create content from our blog that Google wants to rank? So, we talk about, we want it ranked, we want it top of the list and blah, blah, blah. But if you think about what Google are looking for, they're looking for that most value. And they measure this by numerous things. But one thing that they look at is the value and the sustenance, the amount, I suppose, of value that a blog post can bring. Now, a blog post on its own, if you've got one blog post on your website, it is, in this context, it is very hard to get it ranking well for the value that it brings to Google. Okay. How we create much more value is by having a series of blog posts on our website that are all interlinked by the topic that you're talking about, and then they're hyperlinked together. And it almost creates like this big ball of value from not just one blog post, but 12 blog posts over a year, for example. If they're all interlinking from a content point of view, so they're on a similar topic and they're physically linked through hyperlinks to each other, that quickly creates a much bigger value set from a series of blogs on one topic than just one single blog. So I very much recommend, when we're thinking about our blog schedule over that 6-month period, we want to be creating basically a blog content hub. That's what they call it generally. And a blog content hub basically has what they class as a hub blog, which is the main overarching blog that sort of introduces the subject, that really like sets the stage for what you're going to be talking about. And then you create topic clusters off of that initial hub blog. And those topic clusters are subtopics of what you have been talking about in much more detail, and from your area of expertise. So I'm gonna give you a bit of an example, okay? Again, from a floral point of view. Apologies in advance, but it will just help you get a context of how how it's meant to sort of set out. Okay, so an example would be a hub blog. Is that general overarching blog subject that introduces the wider topic. So from a floral point of view, why choose locally grown florals to transform your wedding celebration? ? And under that title, I can set out my stage, if you like, about what I'm going to be talking about, what is my area of expertise, etc., etc. Now, imagine that's like the body of the spider, and then one topic cluster would be off one leg of the spider, and one topic cluster might be the boho wedding guide to eco-friendly table decor, if you like. And that's a little it's the foot of the spider, if you like. And then off that foot, it's got toes. So I don't know if spiders have got toes, but hopefully it helps with the visualization. So the topic one, within that foot, which is all around table decor, I'm then going to do a blog about wedding tablescapes. The next toe is going to be about top table backdrops from a floral point of view. The next toe is going to be about bridal party florals. So all of a sudden, I have quickly created the hub blog, which is the intro, one leg, and then the first topic cluster. So that's the hub blog is one. The foot, which is all about table decor, is the second blog. And then I've got 3 toes, which is about tablescapes, table backdrops, and bridal party florals. And how many is that? That's 5 already, just from one topic cluster. As you can see, if you then, so it's all on a similar subject, but it's going into masses of detail for your ideal wedding client, and Google will love it because they can see that it's all similar content, but it's adding masses of value. You've got overcoming pain points in there. There's an education piece in there, and throughout that you're then hyperlinking them all together. And when I mean hyperlink, when you click on a phrase that's on a website, for example, and then it clicks into another blog, and then they can read about that specific subject. So, and they need to be hyperlinked to each other. So that is 5 already. And then, so we just need 12 if you're doing one a month over that 12 months. And you basically grow your spider. You do some more legs, you do another topic cluster. So when we think, right, what should we write about? Actually, if we're keeping that in context, if we're making sure that we're providing an education piece and you're staying on subject that you're within your specialism, Google will love it, your ideal client will love it, and you are positioning yourself as that expert within that wedding field. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So again, just going back to frequency, you need to decide whether you're going to do a monthly, which is 12 blogs a year, or bi-monthly, which is the 6 blogs a year. So to finish off, I just wanted to re-emphasize an example of a blog content hub. Okay, so think about your spider, the body of the spider. So your hub blog, number 1, why choose locally grown florals to transform your wedding space? So I'm setting myself out as an expert within the eco-conscious floral design world. I'm setting my ethos about how I work and what's important to me, and I'm introducing the subject. Then one leg onto the spider foot. The body of the foot is going to be the boho wedding guide to eco-friendly table decor. Here I can talk about my ethos around table decor and ideas around how we can make that eco-friendly without, we can create that beautiful look without harming our earth. And then going on to the toes. So there was 3 toes on that foot. And the next blog is going to be talking about eco-friendly tablescapes, and the title of that would be how to create wow table decor from locally foraged greenery, whatever the season. The next topic cluster, so another one of those toes, we're on toes, 5 biodegradable wedding table ideas you won't have thought of. Now that's all around top table backdrops. No, it's not. It's about wedding table ideas. Sorry. And then the topic cluster number 3 is Love Florals, 23 British flower varieties that will bring beauty and fragrance to the wedding table. Now, all of those were related to wedding table decor, but I've broken it down, gone into masses of detail, given lots of ideas, given education. And yeah, I hope that has helped sort of picture how we need to then now structure our blog schedule for the coming year. So, activity for you. I want you to have a go at number 1. What is your first hub blog going to be about? So that is that blog that's going to introduce who you are, what you stand for, and the overarching subject matter that you want the year's worth of content to be all around. And activity 2, once you've done that, I want you to think about what is your topic cluster that you want to be talking about. So from your main area, start to specify and set your stage for what you're going to talk about there. I hope that's helpful. You know where I am if you've got any questions. I love to hang out on Instagram. So if you've got any questions at all about creating your blog schedule for the coming year, please do DM me direct. I would love to hear from you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Take it steady and have a fabulous day. Lots of love.
Download your free Who Do You Serve activity pack that takes you through the step-by-step activities to focus in on your niche and position yourself as the go-to wedding supplier within your specialism. Download it today following the link in the podcast show notes, or visit my website weddingbusinessgrowthcoach.com/biz-resources. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and took away some wedding business building value. Make sure you subscribe to the Wedding Business Growth Coach podcast to ensure you get notified every time a new episode goes live. See you next time.